Hi everybody, it's me Samantha here today with another video. I am making today's video about the new Artemis palette from Alter Ego and comparing it to the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. If you watched my June and July purchase video, you know that I recently purchased the Metropolis palette. It was on my wish list for a really long time and I finally made the plunge and purchased this palette. And this is what the inside looks like. And funny enough, Alter Ego came out with a dupe palette. Now I do have two other Alter Ego palettes which are also Natasha Denona dupes. And that kind of prevented me from purchasing some of the other Natasha Denona palettes. And obviously there wasn't one for this at the time and I purchased this anyway. I do not regret it. I absolutely love this palette and I love her formula more than the Alter Ego, but I will have to tell you guys that this is really, really good. So I'm going to make a quick eye look using both palettes, using the Artemis palette on this eye and the Natasha Denona on the opposite eye, and we will compare them. I also will include some swatches at the end of the video and kind of give you my thoughts and feelings on everything. So if you're interested, continue watching and we're just going to dive right in. Alright, so I already have pretty much my whole base on. If you can tell with my skin tone, I am wearing kind of an orangey blush right now, and because I decided that I'm going to go a little bit more orange tone with my look. Typically when I use this palette, I tend to gravitate towards the greens and the blues. Not to say that I don't also enjoy the more neutral or orangey bronzy shades in here, but I just love those dark deep tones in here. But to do something a little bit different from what my norm is, I am going to use some of the oranges today. I'm going to make an effort to do that. The Natasha Denona palette does feel lighter in weight as far as like your hand than the Artemis palette, and I think that's partially to do with the packaging. The Natasha Denona has like a spongy kind of texture on here, and you will notice that the names of the shadows aren't directly on the palette here. It includes this kind of clear sheet, and when you fold it over, it has the labels kind of over top of them. And then it does have a mirror, but it is smaller than the one in the Artemis palette. It looks like, as far as the weight goes, the net weight of the Natasha Denona palette is 38.45 grams and the Artemis palette only comes with 28 grams. So you are getting more in the Natasha Denona, even though this palette does appear to be a little bit larger. In the Artemis palette, the mirror is quite large, and then the names of the shadows are underneath. The arrangement of the shadows are not the same, but I will tell you they're pretty close as far as shade match, if not exact. Yeah, let's get into it. Alright, for brushes, I'm going to use my Olimar brush. It doesn't have a number or anything on the brush, and then I'm going to use my BH Cosmetics number 6. They look pretty similar and the density feels pretty similar. This one's a little flatter and this is a little bit more oval, but I think they're close enough to get a similar look on each eye. And then I actually do have two of these BH Cosmetic brushes, and these are the V13. They're dual headed, and I will use these to create the look. So I'm going to start over here with the Artemis palette, and I think the first shade I'm going to go into is Trapped, and it is this one here in the corner. This is a cream to powder formula. I'm just going to go just over my crease. I should probably use a more denser brush, but I don't have that many brushes that look exactly the same to get that same effect on each eye. Alright, so I'm actually going to use these two brushes here. This is the Luxie 250, and then this is the Sonia Kashuk brush. It doesn't have the number on it, but I think they're pretty similar as far as density. And so I'm going to go in with the Luxie brush in the Artemis palette in the shade Trap. And just try to build up that shade a little more. I think that's okay. I'm gonna go in now with Snape. It's a darker orange. And I'm just gonna go right here in the outer lid and then bring it into the crease. I have to say, when I first saw that they were releasing this, I was like, are you for real? I just bought that other palette. I was like, I could have saved so much money. But then I was like, no, it's good because I can see, like, if there's a really big difference in the quality when they're both exactly the same. Because I do have other palettes from Alter Ego, but I don't have the corresponding dupes to really compare them. Alright, and now I'm going to go in with Pounce. So first we went in with Trap, then we went in with Snape. Now I'm going to go in with Pounce with my finger and just put that all over my lid. And I'm going to go back in with Snape and just kind of blend that on the outer part. And then I'm going to go in with Catch, which is this gold shade here, and put that in the inner corner. Alright, that is the look on this side. This is the Artemis side. We are going to close that up and do the other eye. So I think the shade that is corresponding with Trap is this shade here called Crimson. And so I'm going to take the Sonia Kashuk brush and go in there, and then I can already see that I'm getting more pigmentation, and it did go on a little bit smoother. If you can see that. I'm going to leave it right there. I don't want to go too much in because I do want it to match the other side. And then I'm going to go in now with the shade called Ripe, which is this orange right here, which I think is the closest to the Snape shade in the Artemis palette. And just like the other eye, I'm going on the outer side of the lid, and then I'll bring that in to the crease. I don't see much of a difference in the color and the tone of the colors when I put them on the eye. I do have to say the Natasha Denona one just goes on a little bit smoother and blends way easier. Like, I felt like I put a lot more work in the other eye already than I've done in this one, and I'm pretty much caught up. Now we're going to go into the shade Rust, and it's right here in the corner, and I think that one is the one that Pounce is trying to emulate. And again, with the finger all over the lid. Right off the bat, I feel like the Natasha Denona has glitter sparkle in it just like the Pounce one, but it's a little bit finer. and more smooth, and almost adheres to the lid a little bit more naturally. I don't know if you can really tell the difference, but I see it in person. Alright, so for the last shade I'm going to go into is going to be the shade Fuse from the Natasha Denona one, and that's the one I'm going to use in my inner corner. There is some definite differences between these two. I can see like that inner corner is just so much more blinding and more like a lid shade, whereas on this side it does look more like an inner corner highlight. It does have a beautiful shine to it, but it's just not as punchy or vibrant. I'm gonna just add a little bit more on the other side just to make it kind of match. And you can get that look. Again, I feel like on camera you might not be able to see it, and if you know you're not really a makeup person, maybe my husband wouldn't notice, but I can tell that the texture is just slightly off and that the Natasha Denona one is just slightly better. But this one here is $22 and this one is $129, and for $22 that difference is not that great. So I mean, like, if you don't want to spend the $129 on the Natasha Denona, I think this is really, really nice. You're going to work a little bit harder to get them to get the exact pigmentation, but it is still going to have that beautiful look. I just can't even take it. I'm going to put on some mascara and something on my lips, and then I'll come back and talk to you about the swatches. Okay, so I have the rest of my face on. In case you were wondering, I am using the new Buxom Plumping Lip in the shade Hazel, and I just threw on the Essence Get Big Lashes Triple Black Mascara. And final thoughts, I think that the Natasha Denona palette is better, but if you don't have the $129 for the Natasha Denona, I would get the Alter Ego Artemis palette online and just purchase that right away, because it is really, really good. And there's not really many makeup snobs when you're walking down the street and going to work or doing a Zoom call of who's going to be able to tell whether or not the eyeshadow that are on your eyes are actually Natasha Denona. So I definitely think that this is something you should go out and buy. And if you are reviewing the swatches at the end of the video, I will put a clip of me swatching all of the shades with the corresponding matches, and the top row will be the Artemis palette and the bottom row will be the Natasha Denona. And you will see that there is a difference in some of the like darker tones, like this blue and the green here. These are the colors I actually gravitate towards most in the Natasha Denona, but as you can see with the Artemis palette, they're not that pigmented. You kind of have to really work to get the pigmentation out of them, but I don't see that as the worst thing, because if you are a beginner with eyeshadow and you don't want to go in with a highly pigmented shadow, you could use this and easily build it up. So I don't think that it's a horrible con for the eyeshadow palette itself. I still think that it's a good palette and it's worth purchasing for $22. You're not going to be throwing away your money with this palette. And that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. I hope you liked the look that I created. And until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you are reminded and notified when I have another video coming up. And thank you guys for watching. Love you. Bye.